And I looked at him and I said, jet ski fishing may be the way to go.
Are personal watercraft a fisherman's worst nightmare or best friend? Let's find out on episode 46, brought to you by reelsandtackle.com.
Welcome to the Telltale Fisherman Podcast, where avid anglers share the story of their best fishing day ever to inspire yours. Now it's time for another epic adventure. So here's your host, John Woodson.
Okay, welcome to the show. Today's guest is Mike Hale, and he is coming to us from the great state of Georgia. Mike, how you doing, man?
Good, John. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thanks, and I'm really happy that we are getting our first epic fishing story from someone in Georgia. We've kind of danced all around Georgia, done some Louisiana and Carolina stories, South and North Carolina, and Florida. Obviously, we got that covered. But I've been waiting for a good Georgia story, so I'm excited to hear what you got for us today. But before we jump off into the fishing, why don't we just have you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, my name is Mike, obviously. I live 2 hours north of Savannah in a town called Augusta. You might know it for the Masters.
They have a golf course there or something, I've heard.
Yeah, they have a tournament there once a year that usually brings in a couple of people.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Wow. So do you have to evacuate that time of year, or do you hang out and enjoy the festivities?
Usually, if you're a local, you want to get the heck out of Dodge.
I bet, yeah. Now, do you ever go to the tournament?
I actually go every year because my brother-in-law bartends there at the National, so he has a full-time job there, so we get free passes every year to go. Oh, man, I've heard that from the people I know who've gone. I've never been fortunate enough to get tickets, but the people I know who have gone have told me that the grounds and the grass are just beyond immaculate, that you have to touch the grass just to believe that it's real. It is definitely an unreal experience, John. You definitely have to make it up and go. I would love to do that sometime. That's probably the subject of a whole other podcast, just talking about Augusta. But today we will keep it to the fishing. But you, obviously, living in Augusta, you're not quite on the saltwater there, but you do some saltwater and freshwater fishing? Absolutely. Anything from Clarksville Lake, right here above Augusta, all the way down the Savannah River to Tybee Island, where the river actually runs into the ocean. Okay. I pretty much have touched every square inch of the water from Augusta to the coast. There you go. How long does it take you to get to saltwater to do that kind of fishing? If I'm going on a jet ski just on the river, it's about 4.5 hours. Oh, wow. If I'm in a car, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. So have you done that run all the way down there in a jet ski to go fishing? I have. My cousin and I, we both got into this around the same time, and that's one of those trips that I always said we wanted to make, because after you get past South Augusta, that's the last lock and dam, and everything south of that you can just cruise on through. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about this then. So one of the things that I was really drawn to when I saw your Instagram account was that you are really getting into this jet ski fishing. So let's just take a step back and have you tell us, how you kind of got the impetus for doing this, and then, let's talk about how you actually rig up and go about doing some of that, because that's kind of wild. It all started when we got into kayak fishing. Mm-hmm. And after a day of fighting the waves, loading and launching on Tybee Island, I said, there's got to be a better way to where I don't kill myself. Right. and after fighting the current, and I was beat from kayak fishing and paddling. Yeah. And I looked at him and I said, jet ski fishing may be the way to go. I said, it's up close and personal, one-on-one, just like a kayak, right, but without the headache of actually worrying about something flipping over on you. Mm-hmm. So after that, we made a pact. I buy one, you buy one. And there you go. After that, that's all she wrote. Is that no turning back after that? You're committed. Absolutely not. So you got a jet ski, and now your closest waters are obviously the freshwater. So did you start out that way, going out and trying it out freshwater fishing? Yeah, the Savannah River from where I'm at. It's 2.5 miles from where I live. So
okay.
There's a nice boat launch ramp right there. So the first time I got it in prototype stages, I was trying to figure out a good wrecking system. So back and forth the river to my house I would go, one after the other. So fishing on the river there is much easier than the ocean. And I said, if I can figure it out here, I can figure it out on the ocean, you know?
Yeah, that's not bad thinking to get that squared away before you go hit the big pond and in the big waves.
Absolutely.
So first, I got to ask, first time you go down to the boat ramp, and you've got a personal watercraft there, and I'm assuming you've got rod holders and all kinds of fishing paraphernalia sticking off of it.
I have a rack with 4 rod holders, a gaff holder, a net holder, and a 40-quart cooler on the back.
Oh man! So were you getting some funny looks that first time?
Yeah, it's not your typical bass tracker by any means.
No, but it'll sure fly across the water like one.
But they knew I meant business.
Yeah,
when I had my fresh fish, like my blue herring, live fish that I was putting in my cooler, and then I got on my jet ski and I took off and I left. You know, I mean, it's an unreal experience.
Wow. So obviously on freshwater there, normally when you go out on the river like that, you're fishing for bass or catfish. What type of fish were you doing, when you were first learning and experimenting?
Where we are is it backs up to pretty nice sized lake in Clark's Hill, and there's a dam that backs up, and they generate there every day. So we fish with blue herring. Yeah. We hook them, and we're fishing for striped bass.
Oh,
and there's
okay.
some striped bass out there that'll drag you around. And when you're on a kayak or a personal watercraft, it's a fun fight. Let me just put it that way.
Oh, I bet so. I'm just trying to picture how you would get in position and how you fish for this. So do you actually turn around backwards and kind of fish off the back?
So depending on the current, especially in the river, how steady the water's flowing depends on how I anchor. If it's coming one way, I anchor on my left side and I fish off the right side to kind of balance out.
Okay.
So I'm not tilting one way or another. But the ski that I got is more than stable enough to put both feet on one side and fish off of. Okay. So unless I'm trolling, I'm never really fishing off the back.
Right. Okay. And so what is it like to troll off the back of that? Can you get 2 lines going at once, 2 poles off the back, or you kind of just have to troll one rod to keep them from tangling?
Right now, it's one rod.
Yeah.
There's a system that I'm looking at implementing to where I can put 2 rod holders up on the front pole, and that'll allow you to troll 2 and get it out a little further. But right now, one is kind of where I'm at.
Well, I can't wait till you put the pictures up of you with big offshore outriggers hanging off the side of the.
You know what? I thought about doing something like that.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Well, I bet you can do pretty well trolling in the current in the river there for fish.
No doubt. I mean, stripers are amazing there. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram page. Those long-nosed gar are everywhere out. Ah. And those are fun to hook on and catch.
And do they usually, I assume do you troll with crankbaits, or what are you using when you go trolling?
No, we're actually trolling with live baits, but it's more like drift fishing than trolling.
Yeah, okay. Those big gar will come up and pop the same baits that the stripers do, huh?
Yeah, usually you'll catch the gar when you're catfishing and you're cutting up a herring in half because they like the easier prey to where they don't have to chase it down.
Yeah, and so you've got the anchor thing kind of figured out so the boat doesn't get too tippy, it sounds like.
Right. I'm anchoring off the front so it's not drowning me from the back.
There you go. That is really cool. So obviously you've kind of got it figured out in freshwater. So tell me about your saltwater excursions on that PWC.
So we started off on the completely wrong time of year with this. The day after Thanksgiving, instead of going Black Friday shopping, my cousin and I, who you'll see in my Instagram post, we took a trip down to Tybee Island. Mm-hmm. And mind you, it's the day after Thanksgiving. It's probably mid-50s and cloudy.
Ooh, yeah.
And we bundle up in our frog rain suits, and we're heading out on the coast. We're wanting to get out there. We're so excited. Instantly, probably 5-10 minutes into it, we're like, this is not regular river fishing. The water's a lot choppier. we don't know where we're going, for one. I mean,
yeah.
So the infancy stages were really difficult because I mean we were using freshwater tactic on a huge body of water, and it was very overwhelming.
Yeah. So have you had a chance to get back that way yet, or no?
So after that trip, I told myself, I said, I'm not getting back on the ocean unless I have a GPS unit, waypoint finder, and a fish finder, depth finder on my jet ski.
Yeah.
So I ordered one that night, had it then 2 days later, and I had that joker installed. And so after that, we made another trip down to go fishing for sheep's head off the reef.
Yeah.
Because about 7 miles off, there's a reef, like a man-made reef called the Savannah Reef, and we went out there and went sheep's head fishing. And I'll tell you what, the right instruments make the world of difference.
Yeah, I bet so. And so you did pretty good that day?
Yeah, that day, the water temperature was about 52, so the fish activity wasn't great, but we caught 5 or 6 that day that we actually brought home.
Nice.
It wasn't the monsters that I was looking for, but it was definitely fish on a jet ski.
And most importantly, you made it back home after that first sea trial, so that's even a bonus there.
Oh, there's no doubt. As I was going out, I kept nervously looking at my waypoints.
Yeah.
And coming back, it was easy as pie coming back.
Oh man! So it sounds like you're getting it dialed in now and ready to branch out and hit some more spots now.
Oh, there's no doubt. I've loaded probably 30 or 40 waypoints from Tybee, which is the north part of the coast, all the way down to almost Jacksonville that we're going to try to hit this spring.
Excellent.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. So far you were kind of bottom fishing out there on that spot. Are any thoughts of doing some offshore trolling for kingfish and all that kind of good stuff?
They do have a cobia run.
Yeah.
Right around mid-April, early May, and we're definitely going to be on top of that.
There you go.
So cobia, and then they have a small tarpon run. We're not really known for tarpon up here, but around that same time, our redfish and red snapper are running along probably 2 miles off the shore. So that's going to be another venture we're going to look into. Oh,
yeah. And the great thing about that system you've got set up there is you're going to spend just a fraction of the gas that everybody with the big boats is going out after those guys. And provided that the seas aren't too rough, you'll be able to zip out there and get to them pretty quick.
Yeah, the 7 mile ride out to the reef, it took us about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which on a boat is pretty good going out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would expect if you get out there on the right day and have some pretty calm seas, then you could be running circles around some of the boats that people go out there on.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, when we get back, Mike is going to share an epic freshwater jet ski fishing story with us. So stay tuned. If I could use only one bait for inshore saltwater fishing, it would have to be the flats jig. It is extremely versatile, and different weights of jig heads can be used to fish from depths of just a few inches all the way down to several feet, and it catches all the target species. Just attach a swim bait, get that tail thumping, and the fish are sure to follow. Go to tell.fish/gear to check out the flats jigs that we like the best. Okay, we are back with Mike Hale and talking about this really cool new style of fishing he's getting into there on the back of a jet ski. And I understand you have a pretty epic story for us today that involves jet ski fishing. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, just kind of tell us where you're fishing and what happened that day.
So this is in a little town called Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
Home of the University of Georgia. That's where I was born and raised.
Okay. Yeah.
So right outside of Athens is the Oconee River. Runs from Athens down to Lake Oconee, and it's known for your white bass, largemouth bass, and catfish. Mm-hmm. So a tradition every year before fall hits is my cousin and I, we go fishing up there together. And generally we would go in kayak.
Okay.
So we know the river pretty well.
Right.
So we start at one stretch, we work our way down the bank, and about 5 minutes in, he pulls in a bass. As soon as he does that, I pull in a bass.
Yep.
For the next two hours, I kid you not, we were catching one every 3 to 4 minutes. Anywhere from, a pound and a half So he caught one that was right at 4.5 pounds.
Oh, nice.
So we ended the day catching probably 45 to 50 bass.
Oh, man.
And I've never caught that many bass in my life. Not at one time. It's more like a brim. It's more like a brim or crappie story that you would see 40 or 50 of anything.
But it was largemouth bass. Wow.
It was absolutely largemouth bass, and it boggled my mind because one, it hadn't rained in forever, and the water was as clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to have seen us coming.
Yeah.
But to pull them up was unreal. And that day we were using, I don't know if you ever used trick worms, but we were using the bubblegum colored trick worms with no weight or anything on them, and just popping them off the bank and just kind of letting them float down. And I don't know what it is about that day, but they were eating them alive. Wow.
So, we were talking before in the first half of the show about how you anchor up when you're fishing on the Savannah River. Is that what you were doing here? You kind of positioned in one spot and anchored up, or were you drifting different spots? Where were you getting on these fish?
The only where we were fishing, the movement of the water is so slow that you don't have to really anchor up anywhere. If you just kind of position yourself in the middle, it'll drift you down at probably 1.5 miles an hour, if that.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's perfect for cast fishing and trolling behind you, but, I mean, it's not like the Savannah where it's generating a current to where you actually have to straighten out and keep yourself aligned.
Right. And so were these fish up against the shore? I mean, were you casting up in the shore? Or were they out in the middle in the deeper water and you're kind of jigging for them? What was going on?
They were probably in 18 inches of water.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, we were catching them probably 4 or 5 feet off the bank that day.
Okay. And you were mentioning you drift about a mile and a half an hour. I mean, were you catching them all up and down the bank there, or was it one little spot where they were all concentrated?
Honestly, up until it was probably a 2.5 mile stretch from the bridge where we put in down to the little lock and dam area. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we were pulling them in that whole stretch.
Wow.
It was really only until about halfway on the way back that we stopped catching them.
That's so something, I guess, was going on when they all just got pushed up in that, couple mile stretch you were fishing in.
I have no idea. We have been back since and have caught not a single fish.
I sometimes wonder, would I trade that day when I caught 50, for 2 days where I catch 25 each? Or was it better to have that day where you just, caught them off the chart like that? I don't know. But, man, wow. Isn't that crazy how...
I mean, at some point you want to shoot for an average,
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. You're either a hero or a zero, it seems like, when you get those results.
Right.
No doubt. Was there... Yeah, I know with river fishing that conditions can change quite a bit after the rain and, the water gets turbid and muddy and whatever. Was it that kind of a thing? Was it that much different the other time you went?
I mean, clearly the water wasn't that noticeable. And I mean, the temperature of the water hadn't changed. I mean, maybe 3 or 4 degrees. So I don't know if it would have affected it that much.
If you ever figure out the secret of how to catch 50 every trip like that and why they were there, then I think you got a good future in guiding.
If I was catching that many, John, I wouldn't be working full time doing something else.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. Yeah, that would be an epic day. And not only that, you got to do it on the jet ski. So, and actually, probably because you were on the ski, you could, cover a bigger stretch there and were able to catch more fish when they were going off like that than if you had taken the kayak.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, the maneuverability and moving around and jumping to where the hot spots are is one of the biggest keys and takeaways of what I found fishing on a jet ski to be. It's unreal how you can just pick up and just jet down the water 50 miles an hour and throw the anchor down and you're ready to roll.
I've always being out there on my boat, in the summertime, and you get all the jet skiers that come out or just zipping all around and driving you nuts while you're trying to fish. I've always just considered them to be water roaches, but you've got me thinking a lot differently now. Maybe I need to think about getting a jet ski here.
Trust me, John, I don't like jet skiers either.
Yeah.
if I see one of those, I try to avoid them like the plague.
There you go. So you got a whole different mindset when it comes to what a jet ski is for. I like that much better.
It's a fishing vessel more than a jet ski, you know.
There you go, man. Well, before the interview, we were just talking a little bit, and you mentioned that you had a pretty epic offshore day fishing on a charter boat one time. If you got a second, why don't you just tell us about that, if you don't mind?
So we're going back to 2012. Mm-hmm. October of 2012 was my first wedding anniversary. Okay. My wife knew I was crazy about fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So she set up this fishing trip off the coast of Myrtle Beach for us.
Oh, how nice!
So, yeah, I know, right? It was wonderful. It was one of the best presents anybody could ever get us.
I want to make sure my wife listens to this episode, by the way.
Hey, it's a great time. So
yeah.
What's great about October when we went to Myrtle Beach, the touristy season is over. So it's you and Lou.
There you go.
We got on I'll probably give him a shout out, Captain Ronnie, in Myrtle Beach. We went out with him. It was him and his deckhand, and then us two.
Right.
So I mean, it was a very intimate one-on-one fishing trip.
Very cool.
So this is the first time I've ever been offshore at all.
Oh, okay.
I knew I loved coastal fishing, but I grew up in the middle of Georgia, where it was ponds and rivers and lakes. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my first experience on saltwater was this day with my wife. So we go out by 6:30 in the morning. We start trolling, and we hook up on some Spanish mackerel probably within the first hour and a half trolling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is the first saltwater fish that I've caught in a boat, not being on the beach. So I'm excited. So we're pulling these things in one after the other. And these things are, I mean, you've caught a Spanish mackerel, I'm sure. They're not much to them, but they fight really well.
Oh, yeah.
So I asked the guy, I said, well, what's next? He's like, all right, so we go to a reef, and I kept telling him, I said, I want to catch some sharks.
Yep.
I want to catch a shark.
Okay.
So he took us off to this reef, and we start jumping up the water and all this, that, and the other. So we hook onto a shark. I couldn't tell you what kind of shark because I was so excited at the time. But we pull this thing in, and it drags me around. I'm used to catching bass and stripers, and I got probably a 15-pound shark that's pulling like a whale, you know?
Yeah, you got a little more attitude there.
I've never heard drag scream before in my life until that day, and I'm like, this is unreal. I'm hooked, you know?
Yeah.
So we pull in the first one. He's like, do you want to keep it? I said, heck yeah, I want to keep it. I'm going to eat that joker when we get back to the house, you know? So we keep plugging along. My wife catches one. I catch one. And I posted a picture on my Instagram the other day where she was pulling in. I don't know if she had a little sea bass or something on the end of her line, but if you look on the POP Coastal page, she caught an octopus that was probably 7 foot from one end to the other.
Oh man!
and that joker wrapped around her fish and her line, and it like just scared her to death. And I saw that thing. And once that joker got in the boat, he was crawling all over the place.
Ooh, yeah, they're a little creepy when you see them in person. They're not the cute things you see in cartoons.
Oh, there's no doubt. That was the most hideous animal I've probably ever seen in my life.
So did you turn that one into octopus nuggets, or did that one go back?
You know what's crazy? We were wanting to keep that one too, you know, because we like calamari and all that.
Yeah.
But the captain actually kept the octopus, so we didn't get to take that one home and eat it.
Oh, okay.
That was part of the taxes of the day.
Yeah, right. There you go. So man, got on a sounds like a pretty epic Spanish mackerel bite, and then got your first big shark. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Any other critters come to play that day?
We had some barracudas out there, but we never hooked one. Because for whatever reason, he was saying that it's against the law to catch a barracuda and keep it or whatever. So we kind of stayed away from those jokers. Okay.
Pretty fun first day out on the ocean then.
That, John, is what really opened my eyes to a fish having more strength than you, or the ability to pull you instead of you pulling the fish. And that's really what opened my eyes to, hey, I got to get on the ocean. I got to fish out there.
Oh, yeah.
And ever since then, I've had the itch. And that was, 7 years ago, 6 years ago?
Well, and now you've got the tool to go out and chase some of that stuff with, too. I mean, you get a big cobia or, you said you even have some tarpon around there and kingfish. I mean, any of those can, I would imagine, pull that jet ski around right proper if you get hooked up on one.
One of the things that I've always, since I've got it, I'm like, if I hook a big fish, I don't have to have huge line because he can just tow me wherever he's going. I'll wear him out.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm looking most forward to is when you post that picture of the first fish you catch that's longer than your jet ski. That's going to be epic.
Oh, there's no doubt. I would love to either pull in like a big grouper or a big tarpon or something that weighs more than I do to where I have to hook him up to a rope.
Well, Mike, man, that was really cool. A couple of stories there, and just hearing you share about that jet ski fishing. And as I say, I'm going to be keeping an eye on your Instagram and looking forward to seeing some of the cool stuff you're going to pull on side of that boat here in the future.
Well, I appreciate it, John. Thank you.
Please be sure to follow the Telltale Fisherman on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You'll get sneak peeks of upcoming episodes, notices of new episodes as they go live, and pictures from some of the most epic fishing adventures ever. Check the show notes for details. Thanks!
This has been the Telltale Fisherman Podcast. Thanks for sharing another great tale with us. Be sure to check out the show notes page for more info on today's show and the gear we talked about. Keep those lines tight, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Telltale Fisherman Podcast.